Thanks for tuning in to the Prime Bookseller Podcast, the bi-weekly podcast discussing all things Amazon bookselling.
Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of the Prime Bookselling Podcast. I'm Eric, and we are back again. We are on an Amazon topic today. Nothing too exciting, but we're going to talk about how to manage returns. And this is going to be mainly focused towards FBA or MFN sellers, because FBA sellers, you should never have to manage returns just because Amazon takes care of that for you on their behalf. I will also prelude this podcast just by letting everybody know that I do believe that Amazon does have a program. I cannot remember the name of the program off the top of my head that allows Amazon to take care of your merchant fulfilled customer service inquiries as well. I have never used that program. I will never use that program because checking your email once a day and just responding to customers is not that big of a deal, no matter how big your company gets. So I think what Amazon is probably charging you for that service is probably going to be just a gross ripoff, for a lack of a better way of putting it, because for you to hire somebody to just sit there and answer your emails once a day and take care of any customer requests is probably not going to be that big of a deal, and will probably be much more affordable than what Amazon would charge you for that. So that is out there if you want to research it. I highly don't recommend it, and because I just find that customer service, first of all, it's something that I want to make sure that it's done right, because I feel like a lot of corporations, Amazon especially, does not treat their customers correctly. And I would rather treat my customers better than Amazon treats their customers. This is completely up to you, but I'm just letting you know that's out there. But so how do we do Amazon? How do we do customer service on our end? Like I said, when you're a merchant fulfilled seller, almost everything just simply comes through as an email. And the customer, there's going to be different levels. There's going to be emails that Amazon automates sends to you because the customer initiated a return. And then there are also where a customer can actually physically send you an email asking you a question. In most instances, you're not going to get a lot of questions. I generally get two kinds of emails. One is basically somebody wanting a refund, and two is somebody inquiring about some weird, obscure detail about a book. So, it's funny that I did say that I try to provide better customer support to my customers than Amazon does, but I will be honest with you, when I get inquiries from people asking specific questions about the email, about an item, I do not go into my warehouse, pull that item, and specifically tell them what they are looking for, because in 98% of the time that I find a customer does that, you respond to them and they have since completely forgotten that they ever sent that email and they never purchased the item. So that is a huge waste of your time. So basically, if I get a question that I know I can answer without looking at the physical item, I will answer that question. Otherwise, I simply tell them that my warehouse cannot support pulling an individual item to find that information out for them. I a lot of times will mention that we do have a very good return policy, so if something doesn't meet your standards, you can easily return the item for a full refund. But I do not actually go and physically pull everything, because it's just if you did that for everybody, it would take significant amounts of time, and in most scenarios that person is not going to buy that item. So you're going to find out, and this might be more specific to what I do, because I feel like a CD is more of like a CD or a book is more of an impulse buy than a must-have type thing. So, if they're not going to buy it the moment they're looking at it, they're going to completely forget about that they wanted to buy it, unless it's something for some reason they have to have, which in the spaces that I'm in, that's fairly uncommon. So that's the number one email you get is just basic inquiries into information. And you can manage those the way you want to. Once you're smaller and your inventory is smaller, maybe you say, hey, I'll try responding to these emails, giving them all the information you do. But I do recommend that you monitor that and see, if you shoot off 45 emails to customers answering their specific questions about a product, what kind of sales do you get back from that? Because you're probably going to find that it's less than 1%. And you just have to, at a certain point in time in a certain scale in your business, you're going to have to acknowledge that the amount of time you're spending to do that is not worth it. Now, the other one, the other flip side of that is that you're going to get a lot of emails, and this is going to be the majority of the emails, is just people saying an item did not arrive or an item did not. A lot of times they'll just want to return the item and they won't even tell you why. Just numerous different reasons why the item did not meet their expectations. I mean, I could go on and on about the different kinds of barrage of emails you get from those. And now this is my personal preference because I don't really have, my mentality on it is that I don't really have the patience to fight with people about things. So, and this is what I typically see a lot of new sellers doing, is they are so aggressive about like, well, no, that's not fair. I shouldn't have to give you a refund because you ordered the wrong item. I shipped exactly what you ordered, but you didn't look at the listing carefully enough. That's not my fault. I shouldn't be held responsible for that. And I think the number one thing as a new business owner that you need to get over is that right there, because it's not worth your time to fight with these people about these things. That is one sale of many sales that you're going to get. And maybe once you're young, that one sale does make a big, like you're early on in your business, that one sale might seem like it makes a big difference, but the amount of anxiety and stress that it provides you is not worth it. So typically what we've gotten to the point in our business where, I mean, it's really just a no questions asked refund policy where if you send me an email and you're unhappy, I'm not going to ask you any more further detailed information about it. I'm just going to give you your money back so you go away. And that is just, I'm not telling anybody out there that that's the proper way to do this. Because do I think people take advantage of that? Absolutely, they take advantage of that. But to give you an example, Amazon's return policy is very, very similar to that, and people take care of that left and right. And it's just something you have to do within your business. Is you have to accept the fact that sometimes people are going to take advantage of you. And the best way to accept the fact that people are going to take advantage of you is to just make it irrelevant to you. That you're not paying close enough attention to see that a person is taking advantage of you. So once you get into the space, you're selling used items, the return rates on this stuff is not very high. As well, the margins on books are typically very, very good if you're doing your sourcing right. So the point of this is that for you to be taken advantage of every once in a while and lose the amount of money that you bought the book for outright because you have to refund somebody and they just keep the book is not going to hurt your business at all, to the point where I have chosen to not worry about that. Take the non-stressful approach where if somebody sends an email and says, this is wrong, this is wrong, this is wrong, instead of me saying, well, no, that's not wrong or that's not possible, I just refund them and I move on with my day, because it's not worth getting your stress level up over. So now, that said, there are people, I think that I'm in a unique personality where I can just kind of let that stuff roll off my shoulder. There's going to be other people out there that just simply cannot live with the fact that if they know somebody took advantage of them. And if you're that person, then you need to come up with your procedure for processing returns and customer inquiries that works for you. Because if just refunding everybody, if you're not going to be able to sleep at night because you feel like you're giving all these people back money that you shouldn't have to give money back to, then you got to adjust that procedure to work for you. But my advice is to approach it not as what is right and what is wrong, but rather what is going to cause you the least amount of stress. There's enough aspects of your business that you have to deal with that we don't need you to be stressing out about all the returns that you're getting. So let's take that completely off of your plate and just make it irrelevant. Just make it that this is something that I have to click a few buttons to do and not think about anymore. And maybe part of it is if you look at it and say, I can't click a few buttons and not be bothered by it, then at that point, it becomes the time where you hire a VA for $3 an hour that will click the buttons for you so that you don't even know that these refunds are happening. One of the best things about using the FBA program is that you have to run a report to see the returns that come back and see the reasons for the returns. And guess what? For the most part, nobody runs that report, so nobody even realizes that things are getting returned when they're selling FBA. We can't do that with MFN unless you use Amazon service, where they probably will make it exactly that way, but the cost of that is just silly. So I would recommend you just come up with your own system, and hiring a VA is a great system. Take that completely off your plate, or just figure out what is going to make me be able to move past this, not get mad at the person for returning the item for whatever reason they might return the item. It might be that, I don't know. I'll use the example of I get a lot of CDs returned to me because the case is slightly cracked. And I mean, if anybody's ever ordered a CD from Amazon and gotten it, you see how they pack the CDs. It's a CD. There's really not a whole lot you can do to prevent it from getting cracked. And I mean, when we're talking about this, like, I completely understand if you get a CD and it's completely mangled to return it. But we're talking about like finite hairline scratches on these things, and people are returning them. And well, to the best of my knowledge, that's why they're returning them. So I mean, but the point is that you need to find the system that's comfortable for you, that doesn't stress you out, whatever that system may be. And my system is just to make the customer happy, move on to the next transaction. Maybe your system has a couple more levers in there, a couple more layers to make sure that there's less abuse by people in it. But for the most part, I've known a lot of sellers that like require everything to be returned, and if it's not returned by the time, they don't reissue the refund until they're returned. And I've looked at that in the past because obviously that's going to eliminate all the issues of people abusing it probably. But the problem is that, I mean, how to manage that? How do you check in these returns and make sure that you got the item that it says? I mean, I have not found a good streamlined way to do that. And when it's all said and done, I just think it's probably creating that system is not worth it. But you have to do what's right for you. And when I say it's right for you, I don't mean it's right for your business. What's more important in everything, and we'll probably delve into this a little bit in the next episode when we do more of a business segment, is that what's right for the business is what's right for you, because you need to be able to run the business. And if you hate your business, you're not going to do a good job of running it. So what might be the optimal solution, what might be the one that makes the most money or is going to lead to the perfect ROI or whatever, that's not always the right solution. Because if that process drives you mad, then it's not the right solution for your business unless you find some way to make it not drive you mad. So, and I think that this is something that a lot of entrepreneurs, newly started entrepreneurs, trip up on, is that they have to realize that, yes, there is an optimal financial whatever way to do things. But if that system doesn't work for you, it's not the right system for your business. There are times where you have to give up a little bit of optimization for sanity, because sanity is by far more important than optimization. There are a lot of businesses out there that are extremely unoptimized and they do just fine. But there are not a lot of there probably are a lot of businesses that are run by people that are miserable because they don't have the right systems in place and they haven't built their business for them. But you don't want to be one of those people, because the people that are trapped in those businesses, they don't enjoy their business. They think their business is a prison. They think it's the worst thing that's ever happened to them because it's slowly ruining their lives. And so it is very important for you to, while you want to think about optimization in your business, you also want to think about what's right for me. Yes, this is the most optimal way. Maybe start at the most optimal way of doing things, but then say, oh my God, that will drive me nuts, so let's take that out of there. And come up with a suboptimal solution, but a suboptimal solution that works for you. And hopefully the optimal solution will work for you, so you don't ever have to run. But in my experience as an entrepreneur, that is not typically the case. So I'm going to wrap this episode up. I'm going to recap everything we talked about. So basically, with emails, inquiries about specifics about the products, what I typically do is, if I can give a generic answer that I know right off the top of my head, I will give it to them. If not, I send something to the effect that my warehouse staff is unable to pull individual items and inspect them for this kind of information. I apologize for this. We do have a good return policy, so if you do order this item and it does for some reason not meet your requirements, you can return it. And then the flip side of those is any of the emails with inquiries about problems with an order, wanting their money back. I have a standard email I just send out and then issue a refund. I don't think in the last year, probably once, have I really gone back and forth with a customer about something. I have just simply said, here you go, there's your money back, sorry about the problems. And the reason for that is that I take things really hard. If people get mad at me, that hurts my feelings. And for the most part, yes, granted, every once in a great while, I do have somebody come back after I refund them and they just start yelling at me. But I have found actually that doesn't bother me anymore, because at that point, it's like, you gave me a half-baked response for why you're unhappy with this product. I didn't even question you and gave you a refund. And now you're going to come back and yell at me how terrible of a human being I am. To me, it's like, at that point, I look at that and say, bro, I'm not the terrible human being. You're the terrible human being, because there isn't much more. You couldn't ask for much more from me than what you got. So if you're upset, then, I mean, that's your problem. That's not my problem, because there isn't anything more I can do. What do you want me to do? Fly to wherever you are and present you with the CD that you're looking for or whatever. So that's typically how we manage all our returns. If there are any questions about returns, anything that you see, please feel free, reach out, sales@kingsridgemedia.com, or you can jump over to kingsridgemedia.com and find somewhere on the website there'll be multiple contact boxes that you can contact me through. And then also, as always, we do have sourcing opportunities for Amazon booksellers. So if you're an Amazon bookseller out there looking to get more inventory, please check out the show notes or jump over to kingsridgemedia.com and take a look at both our automated and manual sourcing options. And right there on that page, the page that you go to will be an option to set up an appointment with me that we can sit down and see if we can make this system work for your business. So with that, I'm going to wrap this episode up. I'll be back in 2 weeks with another episode. And I want to thank everybody for their continued support of this podcast. We'll see you on the next episode.
Thanks for listening to the Prime Bookseller Podcast. Join us for the next episode as we discuss all things Amazon bookselling.